Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!
All right, everybody, it's time. We do this every stinking month. After every Arc month, after every Battle Pass, we review with a, I guess I would say, collective agreement, or as much as we can, from you through Discord, Facebook, Reddit, and every other form of social media that we can find, and obviously YouTube. And you let us know what you think about the arc, and then I also give my opinions. And, well, why don't we just go ahead and do that? Cut the crap. You want the hard truth about the Ferengi arc? You want all the truth, the real truth? It was prosaic. It was awful. It was dull, boring, unimaginative. And God help us if we ever have to see it again. Do you need the rest of this video? Probably not. Should you watch it anyway? Yes, you should, to support content creators and to leave your feedback. But this arc was terrible. But maybe the arc gets redeemed. Maybe these guys aren't all we have to look forward to. That's a chair. Maybe these guys aren't all there is to look forward to. Maybe there's more. That was month 1. Can month 2 be better? Maybe. But this one, hard truth, trash. It was terrible. It was, oh my God, it's so awful. I can't do it again. I can't do it again. All right, so before I was so rudely interrupted, we were going to start grading this arc. And let's start with the event / Dabo. And I'm going to go ahead and be honest, I'm going to give it an D. Now, the reason I don't give it a pure F, because I will say that, yes, as a whole, the month was terrible with events. Either it felt lackluster in terms of the amount of events, the events themselves did not pay out rewards that were deemed sufficient by the player base, and 2, a lot of the style of events, lots of mining, just simply aren't what people asked for. It was a boring events lineup. It was a atrocious calendar schedule. And as DJ appropriately put it, they phoned it in. So there's no way to really give a positive grade for that. The redeeming feature is the Dabo wheel. I do love the idea. It's Crucible of War, but for an entire month, letting you choose the type of rewards that you want to receive. I love that it included XP for away teams. I feel like that's a fantastic way for free to play to start playing that catch-up game, to unlock extra faction credits, to unlock, you know, the away team store, and then get extra currency for that store. There are a lot of ways that you can use the various mechanics of Dabo for a positive way for you, and you got to choose those. And I really, really like that. Still feel like the rewards inside the Dabo table were a little bit low, and officer sourcing was definitely not as guaranteed as it should have been. And it's going to be one of those things where it was good for some people and terrible for others. It took me until the very, very last day of the arc to get Quark. That's why it took so long to make a video. So if I struggled, and you know, I'm going to count this, spends money and everything, how did the free-to-play fare? And there are some free-to-play who managed to get Quark. Yes, it did happen. But because of the Scopely RNG that we had to rely on, it was really, really difficult to get what you needed. And that made it not loved by everybody. Next part, and this is something that I typically don't talk about too much because I don't really care and I really don't enjoy them when they happen. The missions, I'm going to go ahead and just give a C+ based on feedback that y'all provided. There's some kind of pushback, but honestly, there wasn't near as much storyline feedback this past month as there has been. So I guess that's not necessarily a negative. It's just a, yeah, it's a bummer. It's just kind of meh. Honestly, probably could be a D as well, you know, just for in general purposes. But since I don't really play it, I'm not going to give it a super low grade. But let's move on to officers. Now, there was 3 officers in this game added this month. Well, in this month added to this game. And you had Quark, Fess, and Eric. Now, I will go ahead and say that they, as a group, are a solid set of officers. Solid. And by solid, I mean I'm giving them a grade of C. Sad thing is, they're both, well, they basically affect 2 different types of mining. Wow, yay! We got mining speed, concentrated latinum boosting, and then protected cargo or loss of protected cargo, which still bewilders many of the players to this day. I personally like the idea of where they're trying to go with the officers, but since it's the first one and we've got like 140 officers, and then you finally put in this negative to positive thing, it's gonna be a tough one to really buy into for a lot of different people. And you know what? That's just kind of, I guess, I would hope that they could see that coming. So as a whole, though, the officers are good. They're just nothing spectacular. And there's even been a trend lately where a lot of our researches and our warships and the officers coming out are so focused on mining, and then the events are focused on mining. The number one complaint for a long time in this game was that there's too much mining and there's too much currency accumulation, accruement. We're trying to accrue currencies too much. It's annoying. We don't like having to go through this process of continually chasing after currencies. Mining is that. You know, it's passive at times and that can be great, but people want active things. And a great example of active is actually going back to the events where we talked about, you know, the Scramble Communication style event. It was called Quark's Cargo this month. Very boring. And Marauder mode turned into a frame. You know, so when you look at it even from an officer's perspective, we are getting more of what, yes, while they're good, this is not what most people are asking for. Most people aren't going and asking, hey, I need a bonus to 80% mining to my officer's base mining speed. You know, or I want to have, you know, slightly better protected cargo than Grush, but I'm technically losing protected cargo because if I ran Grush, DuPont to Pring, I'd have more than if I ran, you know, Quark, Eric to Pring. So you're getting these officers that are good, they work, and you compare them for some success, but are they exciting? No, not really at all. It's pretty much a flop. So they work. So I'm going to give them a C. There's no real problem with them. They're just not exciting. All right, features. This is a big one. Features get a big fat F, and I really don't see how you could grade it any other way. When I'm talking features, I'm including new mechanics added to the game and also features added to the game. Two different things. The two main things that we'll talk about are, one, the Devore Feesha fell flat on its face. And even though I appreciate them updating it, and they did a good job updating it to make it better for what we had this past month, especially with the Latinum mining, but even the Latinum rush mining on Mondays is still not perfected. It's still, why are we paying out? I mean, I'm glad that there's Devore parts back in it, but why are we paying out top 3 in solo leaderboard for Devore parts? Those are people who already have maxed out Devores. What the hell do they need more Devore parts for? Put them in the SMS. Duh. You know, it's real simple, by the way, how to do that. The game now registers if you have a Feesha, then you see Quark shards in your SMS. If the game doesn't see you have a Feesha, put Devore parts in the SMS. Mind blown. Literally that simple. If you can make it to where the game sees Feesha and puts Quark, then make it to where the game sees no Feesha and puts Devore parts. Hey! I mean, at the end of the day, if you're really trying to bring back Devore parts because players wanted them, then giving it to the number 1 player on the solo leaderboard who had 5 or 6 max Devores anyway ain't really helping anybody. The only people I guess that really benefits are the people in the 20s who can start maxing out in that leaderboard and getting that, I guess. But how does that help everybody else that was complaining? I don't know. So that was part of the features. And then next you had the dry dock. Now, the dry dock by itself is good, but it's $50. It is the most expensive singular edition that isn't an officer or a ship that we've had yet. We had the second builder, $5. Then we got a third builder, $20. Then we got we got a second researcher, $20. Then we got a third researcher. And now we got the dock, and they just keep going up and up and up and up in price. What's going to happen next? I get a new base, but it's $1,000? I don't even know. I can't fathom what's to come. So, I mean, it's hard for me to give positive because I talked about this earlier in the month or early in February. Every time stuff used to come out that was paywalled, there would be a free-to-play path foreseeable in the future. We're still waiting on like Prime PvP and stuff to have a free-to-play path. Those Prime Particles, we're still waiting on those to get free-to-played. We're still waiting on, will we ever have a free-to-play builder? Will we ever have a free-to-play researcher? Why not make one of the researchers free-to-play since you can buy 2 of them now? You know, all of this that we're talking about, and now the dock definitely doesn't have one. So tough for me to give a positive because honestly, most players didn't give it a positive. Is it useful? Yes, I've got one. It is useful. I just mine Isogen with it. Still useful, but was the player base happy to have it? No, it was just part of a month that remained frustrating. And let's not talk about the biggest missing feature of all, the amalgam. Still not free to play. So overall, I give the first Martha the Ferengi arc a D. Now, if y'all want to just spam F in the comments, that's fine. Please go ahead and tell everybody how this was the F month. That's fine. 100%. The reason I gave it a D, because the officers were okay, and the Dabo mechanic is a good mechanic that needs to be repeated but improved. That's the only reason. Everything else is pretty bomb worthy, and I'm with you on that. However, there is some good here, and we had some good responses, like updating the, the Mining Monday during the arc, which is pretty rare to have them do that quick. Upgrading the Feesha and making the Feesha worth it during the arc, that was good. Having that type of change. I should have got it right the first time, I get that. But I'm giving it a D or a D minus. It's just a smidge above a complete and utter failure, which is F. So that's what I would give it. But if you disagree, that's fine. The whole purpose of this video is to provide feedback, and that's where you come in the comment section below. Now, if you do want to provide feedback, you can also join our Discord channel, where a lot of the feedback that I'm talking about was said by you to the dev team in our feedback channels, because that's what we have in there. And you're more than welcome to check those out. And last but not least, stay tuned for more Star Trek Fleet Command content by liking this video. All you gotta do is smash this button. It looks like this. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let me know what content you would like to see. Live long and prosper. Stay safe with the Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. I'll catch you on the next one. We outie, and God bless America. Or hopefully God bless the second month of the Ferengi. Woo!
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.